It's a bear. Hey, good morning. What's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals for our daily precious metals update, April 29th. 78 degrees out there, just absolutely gorgeous blue skies. The ocean looks really nice. And I hope you're having a great day as well. Well, let's move into the age-old questions, one of the oldest questions on Earth. I'm sure that's been asked over and over and over again, billions and billions and trillions of times in all different languages. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Mom, Dad, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Yeah, how many times did you probably say that as a kid when you were traveling somewhere? And I like this picture right here. It's pretty cool. How many times have you just said this in general in your life? Am I there yet? Are we there yet? Am I there yet? Are we there yet as a country? Are we there yet as a family? Am I there yet as a person? Am I, you know what I'm saying? So probably one of the oldest questions in the world. And why do I bring up, are we there yet? Because that's the question I get asked by a lot of new gold and silver investors all the time. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Well, first I'd really have to say, let's define what are we there yet means. I mean, are we where? And usually when it comes to precious metals, that question primarily infers that when are prices of gold and silver and platinum going to skyrocket, go right through the roof? That's kind of that is the are we there yet question. And the truth of the matter is that there's a couple truths to this thing, in my opinion. First off, gold and silver and precious metals, if you're in the gold and silver and precious metals business to get rich quick, most likely that's not going to happen. Gold and silver and platinum are going to be used, I'm going to just say gold and silver for now, but platinum as well, are used primarily as a hedge against a falling dollar, a hedge against inflation, a hedge against bad economic times, like an insurance policy, so to speak. And when gold and silver and precious metals, or when precious metals in general skyrocket, it usually means that the rest of the economy and the rest of the world is not doing too well. So typically, if the economy and the world is not doing too well, then metals are going to continue to climb and go up in value. However, are we there yet? What is yet actually? When we say yet, if someone's asking, is precious metals at the point where it's going to skyrocket? Well, the truth of the matter is you probably don't want to see that point where gold goes to $10,000 an ounce and silver goes to $500 an ounce. Because that's the yet. That's when we're there. When gold is at $5,000 and $10,000 an ounce, and silver is at that $500 or $100, whatever it is. I mean, numbers way higher than that is when we're actually there. And when we're there, it's probably not going to be a good thing to be there, because that is generally going to mean that the economy is completely taking a giant shit. The world's in trouble. So if we get there, it's not a good sign, folks. But when you get there, you are going to be damn happy that you had gold and silver with you on that trip. Let me move into some news here. GATA.org. Again, it should be on your reading list. I don't care who you are, how much of an expert you think you are in gold, silver, and precious metals. These guys are the shit. These are the best guys to listen to out there. Because one of the important things that I always talk about is that almost every game and every market and everything you do in your life is manipulated somehow by somebody in some way, even if it's in a small way. This includes gold and silver markets as well, and crypto markets and equity markets and probably elections too. However, here's the big but. Okay, however, you can win at these games, and elections too. I think you can win at all these games. You can win at any of these games if you recognize that the game is rigged, the game is manipulated, and you know how it's done. So that's why I'm pointing out GATA.org, and I'm very adamant that if you're a gold and silver buyer, that this has to be on your bookmarks bar, and you need to be reading this at least once a week. Because in order for you to win in the gold and silver game, you have to know how the game is played and who manipulates it. And there's no one better in the industry or out online than gata.org for explaining this to you. Also, as a single individual, Ted Butler, I'm a big fan of Ted Butler as well, and Peter Schiff, even though I know some folks out there don't like Peter Schiff. I like him as well. So there you go. I could go through a list of people I like, actually, but as far as manipulation of markets go, gata.org is it. Again, let's take a look at some of the articles that they've got here. SEC Enforcement Chief Alex O resigns just after taking the job. Big deal. They're inept anyway. These regulators, they either, a couple things, and we'll read that here in a little bit. Hang on, let me take a look and see if, there you go. Speaking of regulators, and there you go, the SEC is an enforcement regulator. As I said in yesterday's video, these people are idiots. They couldn't regulate their way out of a paper bag, in my opinion. And by the time they figure, by the time everyone's gotten scammed is when they step up to the plate and pretend that they've actually doing something or done something. So again, my opinion of regulators is the same as Bernie Madoff's was. They're idiots. Pam and Russ Martin's SEC's Gary Gensler picks a 20-year bank defender for his crime chief. Now, this is fascinating. If you click on this article right here, you'll find out that the SEC, the regulator for the SEC is picking out a person that actually was an attorney that defended banks against the SEC. So the SEC is actually being staffed by people that actually worked for the banks defending them at one time, and it's just insane. That's just crazy, folks. And then again, that's what I've been talking about. Regulators, they're either crazy, stupid, inept, and or they're actually working for the people they're supposed to regulate. So I think they're in bed with these people for the most part. But that's my opinion. Good article to read. Again, as I've always said, the game is rigged out there. Every market's manipulated. Everything you do in your life is manipulated to some degree. You just have to figure out how and why and what. And once you've done that, you can circumvent circumnavigate your way around that type of manipulation. So, as I said, I have no faith in regulators, nor should you. For the most part, they're inept or they're in bed with the bad guys, and that's my opinion. Not too much here to talk about in gata.org. We've talked about some of these other articles. There is some good stuff in here that I think you should read. I discussed this a couple times. I've been discussing this over the course of a year. Russia ditches the dollar in more than half of its exports. This is basically brand new news, but we've known that's been happening for quite some time because, again, the U.S. dollar, weaponized the U.S. dollar. Basically, our politicians, both sides, red and blue politicians, basically have destroyed the economy. They've destroyed the dollar, and particularly the blue side, because there's no there's no fiscal conservatives whatsoever in Washington, D.C. They're not in Republicans, not in the Democrats, but as far as standing next to Democrats, Republicans look like fiscal conservatives, and they are certainly not in any way, shape, or form, but they certainly look like it compared to Democrats who are even, I don't even want to describe it as far as fiscal responsibility goes. And again, I don't like either party. I don't trust either party myself, and I'm just going to say that. And I don't know why I'm going into politics, but politics has a lot to do with my money and your money and our gold. So therefore, I will talk about it. Anyways, our idiots in D.C. Weaponize the dollar. So our dollar was once coveted by everybody. You could go into a jungle in Guyana, and there's some native in there that probably has a couple dollars stuffed under his loincloth. The Chinese love the dollars, the Russians love the dollars, the Venezuelans love dollars, the Iranians love dollars, until, like I said, we broke the world agreement of the dollar was the world currency. Everybody loved it. If there's one thing, everyone hated America, no matter what they hated America about, one thing they did love is they loved the U.S. dollar. And you know what? Like I said, our politicians pretty much have destroyed that. And this article talks about how Russia ditches the dollar. Not good for the U.S. economy, not good for the U.S. dollar, and certainly going to be good for gold and silver prices. Because what do you think Russia is trading dollars for? Again, take a look at some of these articles on here. There's some good stuff here. You should be reading this at least once a week. Zero Hedge, same thing. One of my favorite kind of news bloggy things. They don't make the news here. They just report different opinions, different ideas, different news blogs, different sources. And I like having a bunch of different sources. I don't like being spoon-fed a single narrative, which is what you get in corporate news typically. And not typically, always. You get spoon-fed either a left or a right corporate narrative. Let's go over the articles today. Again, not too much in gold and silver today. And I did have one article I kind of pulled out here. We'll take a look at it. But all this stuff, it does have an effect on gold and silver. Not all of it, but most of it. Joe Biden's speech was a declaration of war on America. Good, decent article. I would read that. And again, yeah, it does have an effect on us with the price of gold. So you should be reading a lot of this stuff. Economic Cliff was a good article. Q1 GDP unexpectedly misses despite stimulated funding, spending surge. None of this is good. When you take a look at this, there are still over 16 million Americans on some form of government jobless benefits, and that's huge, folks. New York City will fully open on July 1st. That's actually funny because Florida's been open for several months now. No mandates on masks, and the closures have been off for quite some time. And New York is going to open up on July 1st. It just doesn't make sense to me, folks. But anyway, I'm going to move along from that. Futures jumped above 4,200 on blockbuster earning, bubble blowing Fed. As I said, not too much, and this is the article I want to take a look at here. It's called Read My Lips, Fed Speak, and I'm going to move over here. Oh, by the way, my Florida peeps down here, since I am a local business and I only deal locally, what do you think of this Franken-skeetos they're going to be releasing down here? Genetically modified mosquitoes. Oh, some crazy stuff going on out there. However, let's get along to what I said I was going to talk about. I won't digress into mosquitoes. Read My Lips, Fed Speak Exposed. This is kind of an interesting, you know what, out of all the writers in precious metals out there, and I've got to make a comment on here, these guys are the best from Gold Switzerland. Egon von Greyers writes some great stuff out there, and I got to hand it to him. He really does. I'm on the exact same page as he is. So let's take a look at what he wrote here. And again, this talks about central bankers, what we've been talking about a little bit, U.S. dollar central bankers, and what they've said about gold over the years. He starts off here, says, read my lips, no new taxes. Bush Sr. said in his acceptance speech for his nomination in 1988 when he promised no tax rises. And actually, that's what killed his re-election was no new taxes, and the fact that no president has ever been re-elected in a recession. I guess Donald Trump proved that as well, because we were kind of in a recession, and he did not get re-elected. Same thing with Bush. Again, I digress. As most politicians, he didn't keep his word. In 1992 campaign, Clinton made a devastating attack on Bush's pledge, and the rest is history. Well, that's part of it. The simple rule is don't listen to what people say, but how they say it. Already 50 years ago, the Moravian model concluded that words only convey 7% of a message. Body language accounts for 55%, and tone delivers 38%. Now, I don't know what this has to do with precious metals, but this is kind of interesting. That is why you should never focus on the words of a speaker, since they are the least important. Interesting. Well, I kind of always believe that. Don't focus on words, focus on actions, folks. So let's move down to here. Actually, I want to move down to this good article, really good article, but I'm afraid that if I start reading this all, we're going to be here all day. Definitely, when you get a chance and you're done watching this video, go to Zero Hedge and type, read my lips, Fed Speak Exposed. Definitely a good article to read. But I'm going to hit a few excerpts down here, a few things that I want to discuss that directly talk about gold. Greenspan on gold. Let's go with him first, because Alan Greenspan was actually a gold bull for a long time. I believe he wrote something on gold, and I think we'll talk about that in a second. The politicians that speak with forked tongues is a well-known axiom. The day they put the political cap on, it's impossible for them to tell the truth. The same is with the heads of the Federal Reserve. Whatever views the appointee previously had about sound money is completely blown out of the water once he or she enters the building. Was it a Cecil's building or something? Pardon my pronunciations of some of this, folks. My colleague, Matt Pippenberg, wrote about the author of Everything Bubble, Alan Greenspan, last week. And the maestro, he's a good writer too, I like Matt Pippenberg, is the epitome of someone who lost all his senses as he had to violate virtually every single principle he stood for. And that was Alan Greenspan. In 1966, Greenspan wrote the famous essay, Golden Economic Freedom. That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. I couldn't remember. And said, thus, under the gold standard, a free banking system stands as the protector of the economy's stability and balance of growth under a gold standard. When gold is accepted as a medium of exchange by most or all nations, an unhampered free international gold standard serves to foster a worldwide division of labor and the broadest international trade. Obviously, Greenspan was a big fan of gold and the gold standard until he got became the director in the Fed there. In 1978, Congress here in Greenspan stated, in the absence of the gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from. This is important too. Greenspan said this in 1978. Remember, we got off the gold standard in 72. In the absence of the gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There is no safe store of value. And this is exactly what we see happening right now, folks. Savers are being punished, and you're being pushed into being a consumer and spending your money. Well, why do they want you to be a consumer and spend your money? Because they don't want you sitting on it, because it just falls in value. It drastically decreases in value over the time. They don't want you noticing that. And also, as a consumer, you spend more money in taxes and they make more money. So they pushed us to become consumers, not savers, and savers get punished nowadays. And Greenspan hit it exactly on the head right here. Confiscation through inflation, and that's exactly what we've got going on here. This is why we've got people living on Social Security checks because they couldn't save enough, and savings were kind of worthless. If you put $1 away in 1975, what's it worth now in buying power? Virtually shit. So anyway, let me move along here. It is a brilliant scheme that has only been possible with the absence of gold standard by creating megatons of worthless fiat money out of thin air. Now this is Greenspan saying this. When Greenspan was Fed head, he had to conveniently suppress his fondness for gold, so he developed his own gobbledygook Fed speak. He admitted himself, since becoming a central banker, I have learned to mumble with great incoherence. I like Greenspan. I always did. I still do. If I seem unduly clear to you, you must have misunderstood what I said. And he did have a good sense of humor, but here's a guy that was fully on board with being backed by the gold standard, that became the Fed, the Fed chairman, the head of the Fed at that time, and he had to kind of give up his whole belief in the gold system. I guess, well, that's what happens. They hired him to run a fiat system. When they hired Greenspan as the Federal Reserve chairman, as a head, they didn't hire him to be the gold expert and to change the system into a gold system. They hired Greenspan to be an expert and help the fiat system. So that pretty much explains that. They didn't hire him to talk about gold. So that's why he kind of reversed on gold. The most classic exchange of the role of gold was when Bernanke delivered his report to the House Financial Service Committee in 2011. Bernanke is, in my opinion, again, I better not say so, a moron. My apology, a Keynesian moron. A helicopter drop money. What kind of, anyways, I don't know how he got in office, but when questioned by Ron Paul, Bernanke states that the reason people hold gold is to protect against tail risk, a really, really bad outcome. Paul goes on to ask, is gold money? And Bernanke answers no after a long hesitation. It is an asset. So Paul asks the most obvious question that you would think, well, so why do central bankers hold gold if it's not money? And then what did Paul say? I guess he had no other answer. He comes up and he says, well, it's a tradition. What an idiot. So according to Bernanke, gold is not money but a tradition. Really? Interesting, and I love this comment here, and it says it all right here. I don't need to go much more into this article. It's interesting that the Fed stores 8,000 tons of traditions in Fort Knox and other vaults. Brilliant comment. I love that. And Bernanke also conveniently omitted to mention that people hold gold to protect against a precipitous collapse of the dollar. At the time, the dollar had lost 82% in real terms of 21st century and 98% since 1971. Again, they punish savers. Since 1972, if you're saving dollars and money, and it's not going, you're not making more than what the cost of living is yearly and what the dollar deflates to on a yearly basis, you're screwed. If you put $50,000 together in 71, your buying power back then was far greater than what it is now. But I don't need to explain that to you guys, and let me move on here. Powell on gold. Powell, God, he's just as big a Keynesian idiot as the rest of them, in my belief. But he does mention that crypto assets are highly volatile and therefore not a useful store of value. I would have to agree with Powell on that. It is a speculative asset that is essentially a substitute for gold rather than for dollar. Now there he goes. There's his idiotic comment that's saying that cryptos are a substitute for gold. Well, of course. But the question is, Again, I love this. I love this writer right here. So yet another clueless Fed head. The obvious question to ask Powell at this point is, now think about this. Why the hell don't you sell your 8,000 tons of gold and buy Bitcoin instead, if it's a substitute for the dollar? Give me a break. Some of these guys, I don't know where. But again, Greenspan, big gold buff, loved gold, wrote papers on it, believed in the gold back standard. As soon as he became Fed chairman, he had to backpedal on all that. But again, that's part of the job. He was hired to promote fiat currencies, not the gold standard. And I guess so are the rest of these guys. They're hired to promote the fiat system. Good article. And again, God, I keep messing up their names. Egon von Greyers. So I gotta hear it pronounced, so I won't butcher his name, because he writes some fantastic stuff. Good read, folks. Definitely read this. It's on Zero Hedge. I recommend it. And listen, one of the things I've been hearing about for a long time in comment sections on all these YouTube videos that I've been hearing is how J.P. Morgan has this huge short position, and they did at one time. But I still hear about JPM's great short position and how they're one of the big shorts out there. And right off the bat, we know that's not true. And again, if you read Chris Powell of gata.org, this is what I've been telling you to read all the time. This article is derived from that, and I guess Chris does an interview on here. But he talks about, give me one second here, where is that? He talks about how JP switched from a short to a long position. So JP, they're freaking very smart people. I mean, they're short. They don't have a short position right now that I'm aware of. They got rid of their short position and they're in a long position mode. There are some big short positions out there still, and that's what the supposed short squeeze is all about, trying to get. However, I don't think you can short squeeze paper. And again, I like the idea of everyone buying up all the physical. I think that's a good idea, but I don't see much happening on May 1st. But let's see what happens. I'm kind of curious myself. And if something does happen, fantastic. But no less, for those people that for anyone out there that keeps saying that JP has a short position, that's not true. They haven't had a short position in a little while. In fact, they're in the opposite position. They're in a position to make money. So really, if you're holding on to gold, silver, and precious metals right now, JP is kind of your friend. I know that sounds really weird, but it's true. JPM has gone from the biggest short seller to one of the biggest long positions out there. So again, next time you hear someone saying that on a YouTube video or writing it in an article or repeating that JP has a huge short position and they're the ones that we need to go after, they're wrong, period. They're wrong. They don't know what they're talking about, and they're not keeping up with things. Oh, here, another interview by Ted Butler. I would definitely read this or click this too. Go to Silver Doctors. JP Morgan switched on silver from short to long foretells price liberation. And again, this is probably why we're seeing silver going up a little bit too. JPM is on our side as far as this goes. But they will, trust me, they're not in it for you or me. I'm just saying right now they're in a long position, and so are we. JPM used to be, this is Ted Butler, used to be the biggest COMEX short seller, but they managed not only to slip out from all their paper short positions, but build up a tremendous physical silver and gold position over the years. So I actually believe that maybe part of this silver shortage has been a result of JPM buying physical, seeing the writing on the wall, seeing these naked shorts, and somebody in JP probably paying attention says, forget that, we're not going to load up on ETFs or COMEX contracts, we're going to buy physical silver. And folks, I'm going to say it, maybe this is conspiratorial, but I honestly believe that most of the physical silver that has kind of been sucked up and is it's made it a little difficult to buy silver has been purchased by JPM. And I believe there's also some other large institutions getting rid of their paper bullshit, getting rid of their paper instruments, and getting rid of contracts and physically buying real metal. This is why I think there's a metal shortage going on out there, because I believe JPM and other large banking institutions and financial institutions have been buying the real metal and getting rid of the paper, pawning the paper off on everyone else and buying the metal themselves. They're getting ready to take advantage of this physical market here. And again, that's my belief. Good read here. Highly recommend you read this. It was on Zero Hedge as well, I think. And take and again, if you don't believe me, go to your search engine. I like DuckDuckGo because they don't, they don't spy on what you're looking at all the time. JPM, and type in JPM exit silver short position like I did up here, and hit enter. And you'll find that article right here, but you'll find a bunch of articles confirming what I just told you. So again, next time you hear someone talk about how JPM has this huge short position, you can shut them off right off the bat because they don't know what they're talking about. In fact, it's just the opposite. Let's take a look at today's prices. I'm going to update this and see it's up a little bit or down. Ooh, down. Looks like the coin showed a bear this morning, so maybe it looks like it's down a little bit from where it was. We had a high of 1790. Take a look at that overnight, and a low of 1765. It looks like the evening markets, European markets or Asian markets, have been leading the way for precious metals. They've been up, and when it gets to trashing, it seems to happen either in London or in New York. Typical. But no less, provides a great opportunity to buy the dips. I kind of felt that with next week, with the Asian holiday, with the Chinese holiday, and contracts, I think contracts come up May 1st or something like that, that we're going to see some monkey hammering. But again, this monkey hammering provides you a great opportunity to buy the friggin' dips. So if you're in a position to buy the dips this week and next week, definitely do it. Don't even think of the S word, the sell word. Either buy or hold. Again, that's my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been doing precious metals for a long time. So I do have some experience in this. Silver range, again, 26.50 to 26.06. Looks like we're back into those 50-cent dollar swing days again, whereas silver for a while was just kind of hanging in the same area within 25 cents or so. I'm liking this. Again, if you can buy the dips, great. If not, no biggie. Just hold for now. Platinum down a little bit too. I'm wondering if it might break below that 1200 mark this week. Platinum's a great buy, folks. I think that's one of the metals that's just going to follow gold and silver way to hell up at some point. My prediction this week, again, is I think we're going to see some, tomorrow's Friday, so it's very possible Friday and Monday we'll see some monkey hammering. So it'll probably be monkey hammer Friday tomorrow, and maybe monkey hammer Monday as well. Like I said, with the Asian holidays coming next week, that'll kind of put a damper on things a little bit. Again, as I said, if it does go down, provides a good opportunity to buy the dips. Just my opinion. Let's take a look at yesterday's video. And my report was on the silver squeeze bullshit. Silver squeeze bullshit. And I wasn't saying that the silver squeeze Reddit forum was BS. If you actually watch the report, you'll realize I was talking that some of the ideas and thoughts and some of the information out there is just nonsense. And I'm getting so many comments, guys. When I first started answering comments, this show started really small and it seems to be growing. So I don't think I can do all the comments like I used to. I feel really bad because I'd love to answer every single one of you, especially you guys that are always been watching me. But I'm going to have to cut it down to like a couple here because I noticed I spent almost like 3 or 4 minutes just saying, hey, thanks for watching the show. And if I was saying, hey, thanks to you for watching the show, you want to hear it, but I don't think everybody else wants to hear 5 minutes of that. So I'm going to kind of cut it down to a few things. And again, I thank you all for watching, and I will try to answer as many as I can. Benoit says there's a whole lot of over-peddling amongst financial YouTubers, Bitcoin, overpriced rare collectible coins, altcoins, financial formations. And basically what he's saying right here is that there's a lot of misinformation out on YouTube. I'd have to agree 100%. Because whenever you're watching someone, you have to look, well, what is their intent on telling me this? For me personally, I can tell you my intent is 2 things. I am only a local business, brick and mortar, so I only sell local. So my first number 1 intent is to create more customers and create more business for myself. That's good for me, it's good for my employees, it's good for my community when I do that, but especially it's good for me, and it's a selfish reason why I'm doing these shows. But the second reason I do them is honestly to educate you. I'm not here to guide you into doing anything stupid. And in fact, when everyone was talking about silver eagles, and I ran a video a while back ago about how ridiculous, and I still think the price of silver eagles is absolutely insane. Why would anybody buy them at these ridiculously high premiums? And the problem with that is now I have thousands and thousands of silver eagles sitting in my safe because I just feel bad. I don't want to sell them to my customers. I can't recommend them. So there's a story where my greed or my desire to do the right thing with customers overrides the greed there, because I could go out and sell the Silver Eagles, and they're overpriced in my opinion. But when people come in, I do my best to talk them out of buying Silver Eagles. And if you've been in my store and you're a customer of mine, you know that. If you come in and ask me for Silver Eagles, I'll do my best to tell you not to buy them, because there's much cheaper and better products. I do the same thing with Silver Maple Leafs, same thing with the British stuff. I will always try to point my customers into the best deal, because I think that's a win-win in the long run. I may lose a few sales on the short run. A few people may say, well, I really wanted, and I know there's people that walk out of here after I tell them, no, I don't want to sell you Silver Eagles. They're too embarrassed to tell me they want to buy them anyway, so they go somewhere else. And I've lost business from doing this. But in the long term, doing the right thing is always very important. And do you see how I can turn this comment section into a half-hour thing? That was just for one comment. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Mike Maloney is pretty cool. I got to start watching a little bit more of him. I've seen one of his videos. Seems pretty smart. Thanks for watching, Jim. And again, you see what I'm saying? I can go on forever. A couple questions I did want to answer here, and I want to acknowledge all of you here. I really do. Here, I can acknowledge you perhaps by, whoop, what did I do? Oh, there we go. I kind of got out of there. Let me do this again. Sorry about that. Again, it's easy to, again, I say again too many times, it's too easy to turn this into a really long show with a comment section. I'm going to kind of move that up a little bit so you can see the names, because I want you to all acknowledge that I really do appreciate you watching. JD, I appreciate you congratulating me on my 1-year anniversary show. Brandon says, is there no shortage? Why is the premium highs? Exactly, sir. Again, thanks for watching, Mark. I can't help myself, guys. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you. This is going to be a hard habit to break. Sarge says, I'll be honest, after almost 60 years of freezing my ass off with a communistic approach of goobers over in the coof, I'm ready to head to Florida. Well, sir, everyone else has been heading to Florida. I'm happy to see you, and if you get in my neighborhood, I'd love to have you as a customer. Everyone's still buying silver out here. Kevin says, good afternoon, I like your videos. What are people going to wake up, realize that little people are not going to preserve our comics or mine? Again, this is the same stuff that we've been talking about for quite some time. Thanks for watching, Kevin. Bad information. There's so much bad information out there, Michael, and there's so many stacking videos and stacking channels. One thing I do love about a lot of the videos that I see on YouTube is the enthusiasm of guys that aren't in the business. I mean, I'm in the business. It's hard for me to feign enthusiasm or have enthusiasm sometime, because I've been doing this for, what, 40-something years, every day, day in and day out, pretty much. So a little tougher for me, but when I watch some of these videos out there, these guys have great enthusiasm. Even if the information is bad on some of them, I can forgive that, because most of the YouTube videos out there on gold and silver, guys, they're promoting gold and silver, and I think that's overall a good thing. And as they're promoting it, they're learning themselves, and I think that's a good thing. And again, I like the attitude. It's a good, positive attitude, even if they get some things wrong. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Janky Spanky. I just got to repeat that name. Yeah, it's funny about complaining about how the low price is on something, but at some point, I think that's impatience. Is what we were talking about a little earlier. Is we all want to see price of gold and silver explode, gold to go to 5,000 overnight. It makes us rich. However, that's not why we're in it, folks. You got to just keep reminding yourself, I'm not in this to get rich quick. I'm in this to preserve my wealth. I'm in this to preserve my hard-earned money. Little Robin, often when people do not understand, they say it's bullshit. JP Morgan 100% manipulates the silver price, has done so for decades and decades. Hey, thanks for watching, Little Robin. I really appreciate it. And as you know, I just talked about JP. JP does no longer has a short position. They're actually, I hate to say it, they're on our side now. They have a long position. And in my belief, this is where all the physical silver has been going. I think JP and some other big institutions have been getting rid of their paper as fast as they possibly can, pawning it off on their customers or whoever, and they've been actually accumulating real physical silver and gold. That's why I think we're having a metal shortage out there, is that people like JP and others are trading in the fake bullshit paper for the real product, and that's why we're having a hard time finding it and paying big premiums. And that's why nobody wants the paper. The paper is heavily discounted. The product, the real product, is got big premiums. There you go. Wow, another great channel from you. I'm going to have to go and take a look. Thanks for watching, Danny. I'm going to take a look and see what other channels out there. I'm going to do some more watching. It's a little hard for me, again, watching YouTube videos on silver in the evenings. Again, I work all day long doing this, so for me to go home, it's kind of like whatever you do for a living. I'm sure after you put 8 hours into doing it for 5 days a week, you're not going to go home and watch videos on it in the evening. A little tough for me like that too, folks. So I do apologize if I don't know who all the players are. Kind of like what I did. Somebody mentioned that the Reddit group I had mentioned was the wrong Reddit group, and they were absolutely correct. I was wrong. I was looking at a Reddit group at Silver Squeeze or something, which turns out to be the tiny group out there. Apparently, at Wall Street Silver is the real Reddit group, and I did. For the person that posted that comment in here, I want to tell you I did take the time to look over that Wall Street Silver Reddit group, the real one. They have a huge amount of members and a huge amount of people out there. Still, half of it's bullshit out there. So there's so much misinformation. But, again, my opinion on the misinformation, that it's just that. It's nothing ill-conceived, or, there's no bad intentions behind it. And in fact, I'd rather see people talking about stuff even if half of it's bullshit, because it promotes the market, and when they're talking about it, they're learning themselves, and someone else is going to come along and teach them something as well. So this is a good thing overall. Pretty cool, though. I really like the big Reddit site for sure. I'll be looking more at Wall Street Silver, I'm sure. And again, let's see what happens on May 1st. I don't think it's going to be quite the... and I'll tell you why later, why I don't think so. It has something to do with all the physical being bought up by people like JP and other big institutions, and them laying off paper. So really, I just see a lot of paper out there. Well, the best thing I can tell you is buy local, buy local, buy local. I want to say the best thing. I don't know where that came from. Best thing I can tell you. I just got to the buy local screen because I'm going to end the show right now. And what I've got to tell you here is that, remember, I only do local. So if you're watching me from someplace outside my area, I don't do online sales, and I don't do any shipping or anything like that. In order to deal with me, you have to physically be in front of me inside our store. We're a brick and mortar store only. And again, I recommend that you go and find yourself a local coin store, a local precious metal dealer. Buy local, spend it there, keep it there, keep the money in your community. Even if you don't have someone good in your town or your county, spend an hour. Keep it in your state at least. I mean, within an hour's drive of probably anybody in the country except for maybe Wyoming. I don't know. You got to have a good coin dealer within an hour's drive. So take the time, keep the money local. Trust me on this. Don't ship it out to another company, buying your gold from a company out in Arizona or something like that. Unless you live in Arizona, keep the money local. Best deals out there are still any kind of silver that you can buy in a recognizable form for less than a $5 per ounce premium. My recommendation, any products that you can buy in gold, coins, or bars, and you're not spending more than a $100 premium, that's my recommendation. So if you're spending more than a $100 per ounce premium on gold, you're paying too much. If you're spending more than a $5 per ounce premium for silver, you're paying too much. Again, that's my opinion. Hey, this is Brian Kuzmar. Feel free to call me at 954-493-8811 between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Happy to help you with anything you need or give you what we think is the best deal of the day. I really appreciate everyone watching. Make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button, especially that like button. I'm finding that I guess YouTube likes the like button, and if you hit that more often, they're going to put me higher in the algos, which means more people will watch me locally, which means I can make more money, and I can pay my employees more money, and they can spend more money in town. So it all works out in the end. Hey, thanks again for watching. Talk to you later. Have a great day.